Did you catch all the crazy Easter eggs in Spider-Man Homecoming? The references to the future of the Marvel Universe, Star Wars, other villains in the Spider-Man canon? Here are some of the few that were hidden so well in plain sight that you probably didn't even catch the reference at all. Welcome to The Second Take. I'm your host, Jay, and today we're going to talk about all the really cool Easter eggs that were hidden in the third reincarnation of Spider-Man. I personally really liked the Tobey Maguire ones when they came out. I really liked the Andrew Garfield ones when they came out. But now, compared to the Tom Holland Spider-Man, I think he's the best choice. I think he's the best one to play out the role. And I'm very excited to see where it goes in the future. Alright, let's get right to it. So some of the really cool Easter eggs are actually hidden so well in plain sight. Let's start with the villains. So you got your main villain, the Vulture. And then you've got some other kind of sub-villains hidden in there. Shocker is revealed, and then he's replaced by another guy who kind of just assumes the identity of Shocker. I'm sure we'll see more of him in the future. We get a taste of Scorpion with Michael Mando. He's never actually referred to as such, but he's got the neck tattoo, and if you've watched the movie, you've seen the post-credit scenes, and it hints at his future involvement with Spider-Man and how he wants to get vengeance. Really cool plug-in. Great actor from Breaking Bad, and very excited to say this, he's Canadian. That's so cool too. The one that's lying so much in plain sight that you didn't even notice it was a bad guy is actually the Vulture's number 2 man, who's always creating new technology for him. He's actually a character from the comic books called the Tinkerer. And he was in some of the early Spider-Man comics, and I'm sure that he's going to become a bigger villain in the future. A really cool one for me is actually Donald Glover's character. He's listed as Aaron Davis, but if you look at that little bio page they give him, they say his codename is the Prowler. That also is a reference to the comic books. He is a supervillain, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Donald Glover in the Spider-Man movies in the future, because I don't know if you guys were around when they were talking about rebooting Spider-Man for the third time. Donald Glover's name got put in as a vote. They wanted to take it in a different direction, but that never happened, and I'm glad they included him in the movie so that he can be included in the future. Now, Donald Glover only has 2 brief scenes in the movie, but he does make reference to his nephew living in the neighborhood. In the comic books, his nephew is Miles Morales, who ultimately assumes the identity of Spider-Man in a parallel universe. Now, it's no secret that Disney acquired Lucasfilms and Marvel and has some licensing rights to Sony characters with a deal between Marvel and Sony. So, when Spider-Man came out, there are a lot of references to Star Wars. Peter Parker's best friend Ned is building the Death Star out of Lego, and in Captain America Civil War, Peter Parker makes a reference comparing Ant-Man, when he's giant, to the AT-ATs. And I think that's really cool that they're doing all this cross-blending and references from here and there. Super cool. If you guys were paying close attention, you would have noticed that on the daily briefings that they were doing in the school that Peter Parker was in, they had a TV where Betty Brant was doing the morning news as kind of a cool school thing. And if you guys know anything about Peter Parker and the comic books, you know that Betty Brant ends up working side by side with Peter at the Daily Bugle. Very cool reference. Glad they got it in there. One of the better references actually is about Peter Parker's school. It seems to be a school for the gifted. There's a line that Michael Keaton's character says that basically anybody that goes to this school is set for the future. And in the background of one of the opening shots, you can see a mural. Howard Stark is in the mural, and a bunch of other science figures are there too. And some really cool inventions and things are flying around. Gadgets and cool science fair stuff is always happening. And another really cool reference that I found was that the principal of the school actually has a really cool connection to the Captain America movies. One of the running jokes in the movies is that they've got these Captain America videos constantly throughout the movies and even one of the post-credit scenes. But there's a shot that you can see the principal's office, and he's got a photo on his desk, and the photo is of his grandfather, who was one of the Howling Commandos that was part of Captain America's team. Obviously, it's played by the same actor, but it's a really cool reference that they tried to tie it together like that. Moving on, one of the more important characters in the movie is a girl, Michelle, and she's very mysterious, played by Zendaya, and you don't learn much about her character, and then you, at the end, get told that she likes being called MJ. This is an implication that she'll potentially be a love interest for Peter Parker in the future. Let's move on to some of the more particular references. There's a one-off line that Happy Hogan says, and it's really funny. He says something along the lines of, "We still need to ship the Hulkbuster, the Captain America prototype shield, and Thor's belt," that he cannot pronounce. There is a comic book where Captain America is trying out a shield that's made out of purely energy instead of his physical shield. Thor's belt actually gives him more strength, so it's really odd that Tony would have it in his possession, but it's very interesting that they made a reference to it. Did you guys catch any Spider-Man Homecoming Easter eggs that I did not put in this video? Post a comment below and let me know. As always guys, thank you for watching. If you want to check out the channel, subscribe, like, share, do whatever. Just keep watching more videos.